Welcome to the Uncommon Expose, where I want to change your life by sharing someone else's. If you've got an open mind, then please join me and my guests as we share their incredible, inspiring, true stories. Trigger warning, this episode discusses death, widowhood, pregnancy, spirituality and faith. Hello, welcome to the Uncommon Expose. I am so grateful that you're here sharing your story with me. Your story is one that when I first started my podcast, there were kind of stories that I was like, I would be honored to share these stories, and your story is one of those stories. So this is like full circle for me from where I started. So thank you so much for being willing to share your experience. I will just get you to introduce yourself, what your story's about, and then we'll crack on.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. It's always good to sort of make those connections and cross paths with people.
Yeah.
And like you said, cycling around.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many times that like we'll cross paths with people, we'll have conversations, and then it's like, oh, this is why. Because it puts us now,
That's right.
you know, in these situations. So,
Yeah.
My name is Cassandra Barry. I'm a solo mum to a 9-year-old. His name is Franklin. And for profession, I am a therapist. I've labeled myself the no BS therapist, which is really cool. And my story is what's delivered me to this profession now as well. So my story is going to be one around, grief and grit and getting through, you know, the shit show that is, you know, death and change and loss and growth and all of the glorious roller coasters that come with it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's start at the beginning.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this all kicked off 2015. I had just gotten married in February of 2015 to my beautiful husband, Glenn. And not long, he wasn't a honeymoon baby. He was just after the honeymoon.
Yeah.
I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And so...
Was he planned?
Yeah.
Was surprised and delighted?
Yeah, it was just one of those. We'd actually gone through the process because I was diagnosed with PCOS.
Okay.
And so we'd gone through the process a few years prior for like medication and stuff. And I didn't really read the fucking instructions very well. And so we would spend all this money on the medication. And then it's like, when you get your period, you then have to have sex within that time frame and all that. And so I'd started the medication. Yeah. And then when my cycle started, I was overseas.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, we spent all this time and money on this, and then I'm not even in the country.
Oh, no.
And so we actually just went, look, you know what, just don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Yeah. And then a couple of years later, like, we got engaged, and then it was just the right timing. Yeah. So it was kind of that reflection of, like, you get told all these things that you can't have, and it's not going to happen, blah, 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 and then you surrender to it. And you know, now I've got like a 9-year-old going on 35 full of attitude and
oh my God,
this prepubescent stage.
Oh, I love that for you.
So fun. But yeah, so we got married Feb 2015, felt pregnant. I had 4 businesses running at the time. Glenn was actually going overseas to record with his band, and they were getting some really cool offers and things in the works. So he headed off to Thailand in late October of 2015, and he never came home. So at the age of 26, Glenn actually passed away in his sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was 30 weeks pregnant at home. Yeah.
What a I don't think that anyone did. That's wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like,
what was the cause?
Nothing. There was nothing. So basically the coroner's report, because they had to do an autopsy over there to release the body. And we could have done another autopsy here, but I was like, it's not going to bring him back. And so basically the cause was just heart and respiratory failure. Yeah, and I always am like, well, no shit, that failed. He's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, you need this to survive.
Well, you know. Wow. But yeah, there was no actual real underlying cause. He wasn't sick. There just wasn't anything else. So
who called you?
The singer of the band.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was like, this is fucked. Because the thing is, that morning, I'd actually just been diagnosed with gestational diabetes.
Yeah.
So I'd been trying all day to get onto him. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, like I'm
Yeah.
stressing out. Again,
Yeah.
the medical industry being like, oh, it's this big bad thing. Rah,
Yeah,
rah.
yeah.
So I'm like freaking out.
First pregnancy, you're quite young.
Yeah, all of those things. And I didn't think much of it because that morning, like I knew that they were in the studio until like late at night. You know? So then most nights, he'd been over there for 2 weeks already. So most nights they weren't going to bed till like 1, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So not hearing from him for like sort of the first half of the day, I was like, all good. And they're 3 hours behind too. So.
Yeah. And there's so many, like, they could have been off without their phones because there's not internet and connection everywhere.
Exactly.
So many realistic reasons to.
Yeah, that's why I hadn't heard from him. And then sort of like, it got to about lunchtime and I was like, all right, I'm going to contact the boys and be like, can someone please get my fucking husband to contact me?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, look, it's all good. He's just sleeping. Like, we've all only just kind of gotten out of bed. One of the other guys is like, he's still in bed. So they didn't really think much of it either.
Yeah.
So then it was later that night. So it was a Monday night. And so it was by about 9 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
So it was been about 7 o'clock over there. I got a phone call.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, we realised when he hadn't come out for food, something was off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, fair enough. And so they ended up having to get like the ladies. So they had their house mums. So it was these 3 beautiful Taiwanese ladies that were like looking after them and cooking for them and everything at the studio.
Yeah.
And so they ended up letting them into his room and he was just in bed asleep. They're like, he still had his headphones in and everything. Like he was just on the bed asleep. So yeah. I was like, it really sucks on who had to draw the short straw to call me. Yeah. And I remember saying to him, I was like, stop fucking with me. Yeah. This isn't funny. Yeah. Put my husband on the phone. And he's like, I'm not joking. Like, I'm like, no, just fucking put my husband on the phone. Yeah. So, and then that was pretty much all I really recall too much from that night. Yeah. And yeah, so that was that. Yeah. So 30 weeks pregnant back here. I remember calling, like I know I had to call a few people obviously because the next minute my house was just full of people. And I'm just like, what? What is going on? I remember I also called one of my friends who is, she was a journalist for Channel 7. And I don't know why I called her. But she was one of the first people I called. And I was like, I need your help. Glenn's died. What do we do? He's in another country. And I don't know, I just figured the journo in her knew the people to call.
Yeah, and if she didn't, she'd know who to call. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and so she did. She ended up doing the ring around and was talking to the embassies and then sort of figured out like what the process is and just took over that part for me. So that was really great. But then, that was pretty much it. Then we had to wait for, I think it was about a week or 2 before he ended up coming home. His body coming home. And then, the rest of that. So my last trimester in pregnancy really was just a blur. Yeah. Like an absolute blur.
Yeah. I can't even. I can't even. I have no other words. That would have just been the worst experience of your life, I am so sure.
Yeah. It's like wifed and widowed in like 9 months.
Out. And pregnant as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was pretty wild. And then that's what set me on that trajectory of, what the fuck are we even here for? Like we were a power couple. Like shit was going great. I had 4 businesses. His band was going off. Like we were living our lives.
In love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in love, I can imagine.
Yeah. Everything was just kind of falling into place. And it was just like, fuck yeah, like everything's so great. He'd just put the cot together and the change table together before he left and all of these kind of things.
He was excited and you were excited.
Yeah, I actually I looked at his Instagram the other day to show Franklin.
Yeah. That's really good though.
And so
that there is
and so
profiles, evidence that that's beyond you just telling stories.
Oh, definitely.
He will have been posting, so he will have been able to see.
Yeah, and see like what he was doing, and there's a couple of like music clips on YouTube. So like Frankie watches them on YouTube, and
had you picked a name and everything?
Yeah, so we already had the name.
Yeah,
so we already had the name, which was really good.
Yeah.
So we were already, like, once we found out he was a boy, we were already kind of talking like, well, Franklin.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
And it just made it so much, well, nothing made it fucking easier, but it definitely helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other day I was showing...
Like honouring Glenn.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, his Instagram on here, I didn't even realise, and it's been 10 years now, but, like, he's got on here, like, plays guitar for As Paradise Falls, Dogs Are Where It's At, and then Proud Dad to Be.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, man, I always used to crack the shit to him.
Make me cry.
Yeah. I was like, you never post anything about me on your Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, well, I don't know why. Like, I'd obviously seen that at some point, but I'd never registered.
Yeah.
And then, there was definitely, like, one of, the few last posts he put up that weren't band related was me pregnant.
Yeah.
So, like, and Franklin's like, I think that just really hit home for him, It's like, Daddy did love you. You've never met him. You'll never know him like we got to know him, but he was so excited and loved you and still loves you, to that extent. So, yeah, it was pretty wild. And then, I'd never really experienced grief. I'd been to a funeral. It was actually Glenn's granddad's funeral, who was, like, in his 80s. It was the first funeral I'd ever been to. So I'd never really been to a big full-on funeral. So basically my husband's first funeral was that one I went to. All I remember is people wanting to hug me. And I'm like, I'm 30 fucking weeks pregnant. Yeah. It's November.
Yeah, right.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I did it.
Yeah.
I hugged everyone. I stood there like a fucking totem pole and let everyone just come and hug me. I didn't need the hugs. Everyone else did. And that's the most craziest thing I find in grief is that people pleasing that still comes through.
Yeah, right.
You're the one in the depths of the grief, but you're still trying to please everyone else.
Are you a people pleaser in general?
Fuck no.
Yeah, okay.
No.
That's interesting. That's when it showed up for you. Yeah.
I just think I just didn't have the energy to fight.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the energy to fight at all. So I just remember I was like, people really need to wear deodorant.
Yeah. And I can imagine that you just wanted to get through it.
Yeah, I just wanted to be done.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be done, you know. And there was like 300 people there.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a big funeral, like a big ceremony or whatever it's called, you know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Whatever. It was a
party.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got through that, and then so that was, you know, grief. I call her my sidekick now. Yeah. Grief is my sidekick. Because then the day Franklin was born, we got a phone call and my uncle was found and he'd passed in his sleep.
Far
so that was only a couple months later.
Yeah.
So that was death thrown at our family.
What was, and you might want to touch on this a bit later, but I want to do it now.
Yeah.
What was labour like?
I ended up having an emergency cesarean.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who was there with you?
My mum.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it was I remember this like vividly because I'd gone in because I was having obviously all like the prenatal, and because I had gestational diabetes, I felt like I was going for appointments every freaking second day. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, fuck off. Nothing came about. Yeah. Franklin was perfect size. Like it was none of these fears that they put into us, you know? And so I'd had a like a, what is it, fucking
checkup?
Whatever with the doctor a couple of days before, and we'd talked about what was going on. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, cool, I just want to have your consent. He's like, this is going to be even more stressful than a regular birth because of what's going on for you. So if anything does happen and you have to have a cesarean, are you happy to have a cesarean? I was like, yes. Just do what you got to do. Yeah. And so then I ended up being induced, and then I think they couldn't keep track of Franklin properly. Mm-hmm. So then he decided, just like, okay, cool, we're going to do an emergency cesarean. And so he's come in and made the decision and gone, yep, prep her for a cesarean, it's happening, and then walked out. And the midwife that was looking after me was like, she almost ran out after him because she's like, that is not how he's supposed to deliver that information. Yeah. Like, that's not how he's actually supposed to have conversation with you. There's supposed to be more consent. Like, there's supposed to be a whole process. But because we'd already had the conversation, which she wasn't aware of, obviously, she was like, what the hell?
Who's this dude?
Like, that's not how that's supposed to happen. She's like, he's supposed to do all these things and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, no, it's all good. I have already had the conversation and said, just do what has to be done. I don't want to, like, know about it. Like, just do what's got to be done.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, my God, okay, well. So this poor doctor, I'm getting this poor doctor into trouble.
I can handle it. He gets paid enough.
And so then, ended up having an emergency cesarean. And it was just kind of, he was here.
Was it emotional because of the loss?
I was so fucking numb.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, truly, I feel like I was numb for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't, there was obviously like that love and that, all of that. I'm very grateful that I didn't kind of go, a lot of people were concerned about like postnatal depression and things like that. I didn't experience any of that, which I'm very, very grateful for. But I just think I was just numb.
Yeah.
Like, I was just so disconnected from reality that I just went through the motions.
Okay, yeah.
I was just like, okay, cool, there's a baby here now. I've got to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. And then through labour, like, even before the cesarean, I assumed you would have been labouring because
it was about 12 hours.
So you're just in pain then?
Yeah, which again,
switched off.
Yeah, like I don't recall it at all. Like I can't say like, oh my God, labour pain was the worst experience of my life. I felt fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was there and it was happening, but I was just like, eh.
You also, I think, would have quite a high pain tolerance.
Yeah, I do pretty good with pain.
Yeah. So maybe there's that as well.
The older I get, like, especially because, like, I'm heavily tattooed. So I think, but now the older I get, it's more like, why am I sitting here and putting myself through this pain?
Yeah.
But it's definitely.
I've definitely turned into a little bitch as I've gotten older with
every
facet of my life.
Everything hurts.
I'm so weak now. I cry all the time.
Yeah. But they say tattoos and things like that are actually a form of self-harm. And I'm like, you're not wrong.
Were you tatted before all of this?
Yeah. I started getting tattooed when I was like 16.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So collecting memories.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. It's better than a magnet or a tea towel.
These last longer, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, but so then that was that. So then we kind of got home. And then again, grief. It was like understanding what grief was. No one in my family, like, we'd never really talked about death. We hadn't really had anyone pass who wasn't kind of like, reach their expiry date, like kind of thing. So it was nothing sort of out of the ordinary. And we really truly hadn't had, like, all my grandparents were still here. I think my granddad Pop died when I was like 2. But we really hadn't had that death in the family, really. So it wasn't a conversation that we'd ever had or really knew what to do with it. And and then the thing that propelled me further into this journey with grief is the fact that, like, grief isn't just related to death. Like, it's actually bereavement is what's associated with death. Is bereavement. Grief in itself.
Can you explain bereavement?
So bereavement is the loss of a loved one, of a person.
Yeah.
So it's grief, but grief actually is in other areas of life, whereas bereavement is only associated with death.
Yeah. Okay.
So then grief itself, like, then 2018, I was in a motorcycle accident. A car ran a stop sign and I ended up riding into it. And I've got screws in my shoulder now. So then at the time I was a hairstylist. So my career that I'd done pretty much half my life by that time, I really couldn't do anymore. So then I went through a grieving process of that, of identity, loss of use of my body. My businesses kind of went downhill. And then I was like, what the hell is going on? And then it was like, well, I'm grieving that. And then a lot of mothers, I did go through it. Like, again, like I said, I didn't really experience the postnatal depression, but I definitely experienced grief of going from maiden to mother, because that's a whole massive change.
And I can only assume loss of expectations. You had expected to have a family.
Yeah.
And then you lost that, and you had to grieve the belief and the ideal of what your life was going to be.
What it was going to be, yeah.
And you would have grieved the bereavement and grief of losing your husband, but that expectation, motherhood,
Yep.
family life, husband, wife as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, when I work in the space of grief now, it's, you don't have to have just had a loved one die.
Yeah.
There are so many other ways that grief actually presents itself in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so coming to that terms of understanding that and learning about grief and the way it shows up has been huge. And some people go through life not ever having to experience that. Would I like to have not experienced it? Yes and no. Because I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be the mother that I am, the friend, the sister, the business owner, the woman. I would not be who I am now if I hadn't had to experience these traumas. Yeah, and that's the age-old flipping of life has happened for me, not to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's strengthened my relationships with a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
So it comes with so many lessons. So many lessons. And now, especially with Franklin getting older, grief is now presenting itself again in yet a different way because I'm grieving for him.
Yeah.
I'm grieving for the opportunities where he could have been with his dad. I'm grieving for the things that are happening at school and in sports and in his life. You know, I'm grieving for those moments where he should have his dad.
Yeah.
You know, and then going to, you know, school events and stuff. And yeah, cool. I'm very grateful. Glenn's parents are, you know, so supportive and so loving, and they come along and my parents come along and my sister and her wife and my sister and her husband. Like, we've got such a massive family. My brother has been really great. They don't live locally, but we always make the time to go and, you know, spend time, and he gets to hang out with his, you know, with his uncle and have that male figure. But still, at the end of the day, I'm alone. Yeah, I think that's one of probably the biggest things, is that feeling of loneliness that I think even in times where I've had a partner, I still have felt lonely in my relationship with Franklin and his dad.
Yeah.
Because it's not there. So it's interesting how it all kind of presents itself in many, many different areas. And that's the one thing where so many people are like, oh, you know, it's been so long, get over it. Or don't you just move on from it? No. Grief, when it comes into your life in such a large capacity, it's there for life.
I've like seen images where like the grief is in the image the size of a golf ball and you're the size of like a baseball when it first happens, and then in the next image the grief is still the size of the golf ball but then you're the size of the basketball. So the grief never changes but you grow and it just grows into your life and so you handle it better because you're bigger as a person opposed to the image at the time.
Yeah, you learn to grow with it. You know, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is it doesn't go away. But then you just add other golf balls of grief as well.
Yeah.
They all just come into it too. So, you know.
Go golfing for years.
Yeah,
with all
exactly.
these golf
I'm
balls.
set.
Have you found that, just mentioned with dating, because you were so in love when he passed, that any relationship that you've had, like such big shoes to fill, any partner, as amazing or shit as they may have been, you've always compared. They're not Glenn. They're not.
I don't think I've
have that
ever...
connection. Maybe not like a conscious comparison, but you haven't felt that wholeness when you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I was engaged up until about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
I had met someone. It was 7 years later I met someone.
Yeah.
But that went sideways pretty quick because I ignored substantial red flags.
Yeah.
I probably didn't show up in that relationship in the best capacity either. Like, I'm never going to say that, you know, woe is me or play a victim. Like, everything's a fucking two-way street. But yeah, there was lies and manipulation on his end. So, you know, I don't think I probably think if I had gotten into relationships earlier in the piece, there would have been comparison. Yeah. But I think because I'd done so much work on myself prior, I'm not the woman that I was when I was with Glenn.
Yeah, okay.
So I didn't even show up in a relationship the same way I showed up in our relationship.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it wasn't comparable in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it was hard to just even start the thought process of dating because I didn't have an ex. Like, he was not my ex.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a hard kind of conversation to have because a lot of people were like, oh, so what happened with you and your ex?
Yeah.
Or what happened, it was like, oh, here's my ex. Or the thing that gets me the most at the moment, because I'm back in this like cesspool of dating.
That's a good way to describe it.
No, I've got to stop saying these negative things. Oh!
Men are gross, though. Sorry, I'm with you there. It is a cesspool, and they are gross. And I'm going to put that out there for me.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to claim that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So with that it's just like, I forgot where that train of thought was going.
Just that you're a different person now than you were when you were with Glenn, and now that you're back into...
Oh, that was it. It was like the solo parenting thing. Like, and that's why I always say I am a solo parent. I'm not a single parent.
No, I agree.
I'm a solo parent.
That is such a massive differentiation. My mum was a solo parent. I've never met my dad. This is not about me.
Yeah.
But she did everything herself. Everything. We had no babysitters, no nothing. Everything. And then single parents, you have a second parent.
Yeah.
Whether it's every second weekend or whatever. It's a huge difference.
And that's like, I struggle with, like, there's so many people out there when it's like, oh, well, can't we just like, don't, when do you get, a day off? I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I have to organise a babysitter.
Yeah.
It's not saying that I can't.
No.
I can organise a babysitter.
Yeah.
But I can't say next weekend I've got the whole weekend available. And they don't get it. I'm just like, I don't understand what you don't get.
Yeah. No,
There is no other parent.
Yeah.
Like, it's just me.
Yeah.
And so that's been an interesting experience.
Yeah.
And also because it's like, I don't also want to be like, 3 text messages in and be like, oh yeah, hey, cool, I'm a widow.
Yeah.
I'm like,
here's my bags. Carry my baggage.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I say like, I'm not available all the time, like, I'm not.
Yeah.
So, but that's been an experience.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. But you've got to put it, like, I've got to put myself out there. Like, if it's what I want. There's definitely been a period of time, like the past 6 months, I've been like, no, I'm good, deleted the dating apps and everything. So I've only kind of just come back into them now. And that's fine. You know, it's just give it a try. If it doesn't work, then...
It's like you said it, I can't remember if it was while we were recording or just before, but when you just give up or you open yourself up and you don't think about it anymore, that's when it happens.
Yeah.
When you're actively pursuing something.
That surrender.
Yeah, surrender, that was the word. Yep, surrendering to it, that's when it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you think that you're surrendering, ask yourself, can I surrender a little bit more? Yeah. Because, again, it's that piece of, like, everything happens for us. Like, I know, the relationship, like, I was so desperate to be loved. And that's probably one of the downfalls of our relationship, on top of his lying and manipulation, is it's just like, I was so desperate to be loved. That's why I didn't pull up the red flags. That's why I didn't question things probably deeper than I should have, because I was so desperate to be loved. And he loved me. And I did love him, like, there was a genuine connection. There was chemistry. There was love. But...
love doesn't conquer all, hey?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And I just so wanted that. I wanted the life. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted a family. I wanted all of these things that I accepted second best.
Yeah, okay.
Which is such a common story.
It really is.
Whether you've got a dead husband or not. Like, I speak to and work with women all the time that, settle.
Yeah. When you're dating, are you, probably not within the first couple of days or whatever, but are you thinking, is this a good role model for my son? Is this a father figure for my son? Or does that not really... I'm sure that you're considering him.
Yeah, like
in
it's
the
part of
process.
it, but not that early on. I really probably should have in previous, hookups or dates.
Yeah.
Probably should have thought about that. But again, the universe knows what she's doing, and what's not for you will be, shifted and moved on.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing, like, I guess it's going into everything, like, not every person I talk to online or not every date I go on is going to transform from anything but that one interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So if it comes to be, then that's really the questions that you have. There was one guy that I just fucking, such great connections, such great chemistry. His sex was fucking amazing. The conversation was insane. But he was just like, I want kids.
And you want more kids?
Well, no, he's like, he didn't want kids at all.
That includes Franklin.
Yeah, that included like kids that weren't even his.
Yeah.
So,
children that did exist.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be involved with kids at all. I was like, cool, I didn't accept that. I pushed and pushed and pushed. Again, it was that early piece of like, I want to be in a relationship. I want this, and I want to be loved, and I want to feel seen, and I want this. And, over here, he's giving me all of these things and, ticking all of those boxes. But at the end of the day, again, was not meant to be. The universe intervened, and it was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into things with a lot of trust, but I also ask for a lot of guidance and support from, source, divine, God, whatever you want to call it. I ask for support and guidance.
Were you spiritual before all of this trauma?
Not to this extent.
Yeah. Okay.
Not to this extent. I definitely was, fairy gardens and witch potions and, all that kind of stuff when you go through the teenage years.
Yeah.
I was very open to, nature and exploring things. Then, teenager, adult, life, drugs, alcohol, like all of that stuff that kind of just blocks all of those intuitive abilities. And so what actually set me down that path rapidly was when my dad, so after my uncle passed, my dad went down to clear out his house. And he's called me and he's like, oh, Uncle Dougie's house is full of all these rocks and shit. I'm like, crystals.
Yeah.
I was like, and because a lot of people
Can you imagine if he was just like a 4-year-old and just every time he went for a walk just was literally collecting rocks and you're like, no, Dad, they're crystals. And he was like, no, they're literally just rocks.
Yeah.
He's like, imagine.
He just comes back with a box of gravel.
But they were actually crystals.
So actually, yeah. So, because people had started gifting me crystals, and I'd always had crystals and, your generic bits and pieces in my house, but I'd never really sort of attuned to them or really paid attention to what they actually did. And so Dad brings me, he's like, yeah, there's all these rocks and shit. There's all these boxes with smelly sticks. I'm like, incense. He's like, and then there's the cards with like, swords and hangmans and death and stuff. I'm like, tarot cards. I'm like, what the fuck, Dad? Like, so he's obviously like going through all this stuff and he's like, oh, do you want it? And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So Dad brought it all back up. And again, Frankie was only maybe, a few weeks old. And so I was like, okay, cool. Let's have a look at this. And I just remember sitting in the lounge room, pretty sure I had Franklin on the tit, like, because that's all I was a milk bar for like 12 months.
He's not.
So I just remember I was on the floor, I had Franklin, I was feeding him, and I'm just going through this box of just stuff that Dad's brought back. And I just remember picking up these crystals and like, I know what these are. I know what these are. So I was like Googling and I was like, yeah, I knew that was a halite. Yeah, I knew to call that, lepidolite. I knew to call that obsidian. I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, all right, something's going on here. Then there was a mix of tarot cards and oracle cards. I don't do tarot. There's too many rules in tarot. There's structure. I don't do structure. Oracle is all, for me, is just super channeled. And so I started playing with the oracle cards and then playing with them become working with them. And so I was like, all right, well, what do I do with this? I'm like, I don't have a life. I'm just keeping a kid alive. So I started studying. So it was the easiest thing to do, sit on the couch with my laptop, kid on, one side, laptop on the other. And I then immersed myself in like crystal healing courses, oracle card readings. And then that expanded. And it wasn't until later on that I realized I actually had activated my intuition the week Glenn died, because that week I started having conversations with him, like almost like a phone conversation. I was asking him, like, what should we do? Where are we moving? How do I take the cot apart? Like, I was basically, to me, I thought I was just talking out aloud, but I was actually having a conversation with him because I was getting answers. And then a few weeks after, I had a reading with a friend's mum, and she actually relayed the answers that I had heard myself, but she actually relayed them in black and white. And I was like, there is no fucking way you would even know what we were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like little things because we had the house that we were renting, and I was like, do we stay here? Do I figure out how to keep paying rent? Do I stay here? Where do we go? Should I move? Where do I set up? What's the right thing? Do you want me to stay in our home? Like, asking all those questions. And pretty much it was clear that I was meant to go to my mum and dad's. And so in the reading that came through, she's like, you need to pack your stuff and move to somewhere that's green with lots of animals. There's a big open area. There's fences that are, you know, crooked. That's where you need to be. That's where you need to be. I was like, oh, that's my mum and dad's property. So I was like, yeah, okay, fuck. She didn't even know that I'd asked that question, let alone knew the answer. So I was already doing that. And so then when I started doing these courses, I was learning all these things. I was like, oh, shit. I was already in tune months ago.
Yeah, just as all falling into place.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I sort of sat with it and held on to that skill set for, you know, quite a few years. It was about 5 years after that I then actually started reading professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's actually what I do for a job.
That's cool.
Which is really cool because I get to help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have conversations with Glenn?
No, Glenn's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because you're past it.
Yeah. And I think like it was probably about, again, that 5-year mark. I really feel like once Frankie started school, that's when grief really hit. Like, that's when I really actually felt it. Probably for about 6 months, I was like almost catatonic. I was like, whatever, drop him at school, come home and just be like, bleh, out of it.
Because you're not surviving anymore, right?
No, yeah, exactly. You know, because he was looked after. Like, he'd gone to daycare for a few days a week and stuff, but I felt like once I'd sort of gotten him to like school, he was all good.
Yeah, it's huge.
He was on that path, you know, so he was, all the right things had led to this point.
Yeah.
And so it was about 5 years in that I really sort of hit that point of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is actually my life.
Yeah.
And so I was actually at a breathwork event as a client rather than facilitating, because that was my other thing. I distracted myself with fuck tons. I distracted myself with business. I distracted myself with learning. Like, let's just do all of these things to avoid doing the one thing that I need to do, and that was feel.
Yeah.
Actually face it.
Yeah.
But I was at a breathwork event, and he actually came to me at that breathwork event, and he's like, oh, I've just come to say goodbye. I'm like, what do you mean? You're already gone. He's like, no, but I didn't get to say goodbye to you last time. I was like, ugh. So that was that. And I haven't had any interaction that's super clear with him since.
Yeah.
So that same weekend, his mum said that she felt him on the end of her bed, and she hasn't really felt him since either. So I believe we're all souls here having human experiences. And when we go home, so when we go back to source or wherever it may be, whatever you choose to believe, we then have the opportunity to come back and be reincarnated as another human, or we go off and do other things to continue helping other souls beyond. A few people have said they feel like he's been reincarnated. I don't know where I sit. All I know is that he's not accessible to me.
Yeah.
And that's what I really struggle with, the whole, oh, but they'll always be with you. No, they fucking won't.
Yeah.
Like, they're actually not. Yeah. They're not hanging around on the other side waiting for us to come say hello, waiting for us to dial in. They're not. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, that's why so many people can access their past grandparents and past ancestors so easily, because those souls have had so many experiences. Yeah. They can be available on the other side because they don't have as many. They've already had enough lifetimes, you know, they've had enough human experiences, so that's why they can be accessible. But also I find sometimes with me and the way that I read is it's not necessarily a direct connection to the soul. I'm just been giving glimpses of information and memories and connections to support and guide you. Mm-hmm. So it's not always a direct conversation. So, and again, there's so many people in this industry that read differently and experience things differently and deliver things differently. So it's just what you're open to receive.
I guess as well, and this is kind of not aligning with what you've just said, but if you felt that he was visiting you for however many years and then he said goodbye, would there be people who know that, who have passed on, that have left spouses and families, and they know that their spouses and families are not ready to lose them? So those souls are still present for those people?
Yeah, it can be. It can be a scenario. Yeah. You know, they're like, no, they still need that support and that guidance and things like that.
They need to know that I'm here looking down on them.
Yeah.
And then in the future, when they're in clarity and ready to move on, then the soul will go for them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like so many people sometimes will come forward for a reading and they're sort of like, well, I really want to speak to that person, or I really want this or I want that. I'm like, yeah, but you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. You don't need the ass kicking.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just going to come in to say hello. They stay around to support you if you need to be supported. But if you're actually doing all the things, you might not feel like you're doing okay. There's definitely days that I still feel like I'm like, what is this fucking shit show? But they see beyond. And if you're on the right trajectory, there's no need for them to intervene. You know, whereas if you're not on the right trajectory, that's when they will intervene. That's when they will, you know, drag you from the depths and help you find that path again.
Yeah.
So, but it's also part of the human experience to like be here and feel it. You know, there's no point, there's no cheat code. You know, if there was a cheat code, then there would be no point in just being here and experiencing these things. And it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to go through this. I don't wish this upon anyone. It's just part of being human. You know, because in your next lifetime, you might not. Your next lifetime, you might get through it and there might not be a trauma.
Yeah.
You know, or your previous lifetimes, you might have had like a shit ton of trauma. And they're like, oh, here, just have this one part of trauma. Just one trauma this lifetime.
Just one. One cheeky little piece of trauma.
Just a little one.
Yeah.
And it's all, everything is open to interpretation. It's up to your belief systems. It's up to how you want to live this life and this opportunity. You know, it's like if we look at religions, it's just, there's so many different, and a religion is simply just a belief system. And you can choose, and there's so many variations of religions, you know, and there's so many variations of belief systems. At the end of the day, it's what you believe. It doesn't fucking matter what anyone else believes. If you feel right and you're comfortable with just feeling right and you're okay, you're not pushing it on other people, then believe it. Be happy. Trust what you think, see and feel. Your body and your mind, your soul, all of you have all of the answers that you need for this lifetime, for this timeline. They're all within you. You've just got to be at the right time and asking the right questions or experiencing the right things. Again, it's that surrender. Trust and surrender.
Just so hard when you're a control freak, or when you're in the depths.
Because it's like, if we look at the emotional, so we've got what's called the emotional frequency funnel. And so things like neutrality, which is trust and surrender, is right in the center of the funnel. And you've got so many other frequencies before it and after it, that to get to the space of neutrality, you have to actually go through the shit. You can't skip past them. Like, you can't just go, oh, I'm going to go from 0 to like 250. Like, you've actually got to work through the other frequencies to get to neutrality. So, yeah, and then even being too high, like being too high in this space of like joy and happiness and stuff like that, you can't sustain that.
No.
So you have to come back down. And again, you have to let yourself drop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not easy.
No, it's not. But like you have kind of maintained the whole way, feel the feels.
Yeah, man.
You've got to, and if you don't, they catch up on you, and your body will force you.
Yeah, and your body will, like, because your body, like, I feel for me, like, the way to explain it is like our body is a filtration system. So if you think about like a sponge that you've used and used and used and used and used and used and used, it's eventually going to fall apart. It's eventually going to look grotty. It's eventually not going to hold the cleaning liquid as well, or it's eventually going to like muddy up everything you try and clean with.
Yeah.
That is your body.
Yeah.
Our body is a filtration system for our emotions and our experiences. Oh, damn, I'm glad that's recorded. That was like really good. But it's exactly that. So it's like if you continue to misuse your body, the filth will start to show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight into grief and trauma. That's what these are about, grief and trauma. I like to ask all of my guests at the end, if you could go back in time and share one piece of advice with yourself or someone who might be going through a similar situation or the same situation, what would something be that you think would help them to get through, or yourself to get through that?
Yeah. I always love that question of like, if you could go back in time, and I'm like, I actually wouldn't change anything. Even my teenage years where I was like terrible and doing drugs and pinging off my head for like 4 days straight. Like I wouldn't change that. Like, because it shaped me to where I am. It led me to the mistakes that I needed to learn and experience to where I am. So yeah, going back in time for me, like I wouldn't. But for those who are facing grief or might not even be aware that what they're going through is grief, feel it. Yeah. And there's, everyone's like, oh, you got to feel it to heal it. And I'm like, I don't feel that we need to be healed. We need to grow. And so, yeah, you got to feel it to grow from it.
How would you suggest people feel it? Because that is a phrase that when I was struggling years ago, and people would say, feel it. And I'm like, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where to begin because I don't know what's wrong and I don't know why I feel this way and I don't know where to start to feel it. Is there anything that you could suggest to let those emotions out when they've been blocked and repressed to get through?
Movement is huge. Yeah. It's all about the body, because if you're not feeling it, it's storing itself in the body somewhere. Yeah. So movement is huge. Connection to the body. So things that I use is like breath work and somatic movement. That's been a massive catalyst for me. But also as well, like just asking yourself the question, like, what's going on? What am I feeling? What is this emotion? And then the very first thing, like in the first couple of seconds, the answer will come to you, and then your humanness will try and shift it. They'll be like, no, it's not that. Yeah. Because it's, oh, no. It's got to be bigger than that. No, it could just be something so simple. Yeah. It could just be like, okay, what am I feeling? What is it? And it's like, oh, it was that thing that your mother said to you 3 weeks ago.
Or even 20 years ago.
Yes.
That then has that tiny little seed then has grown into a giant tree.
100%. Yeah. And it's just like, it's the trusting that intuition. It's the trusting the conversation that you have with your higher self and not letting the human and the ego steer the conversation. So ask the question, why am I feeling this way? Or what is it that I'm feeling? What is this emotion? And the very first thing that comes to you in those first few seconds, that is your answer. And then it goes through a space of like, okay, well, I've got my answer now, so I'm aware of it. Now I need to acknowledge it and accept it. So just going through those triple A's, awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance. Because then once you accept it, pretty much 99% of the time those feelings will come. Yeah. And they will flow.
Yeah.
It's permission.
Yeah.
Society tells us so fucking much. Oh, don't cry, or don't do this, or just get over it. Give yourself fucking permission to be that soul having the human experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Make sure you hit follow and subscribe to all of the stories that we will continue to share, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course TikTok.